welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EU League. We are past the halfway mark, and we're at game 4 out of 5. COWANA Gaming versus Team BDS, one that I am looking forward to, especially with these two at number 1 and 2 here in EU League. Man, it is gonna be a banger. I really hope. I think I've already jinxed it at this point. Welcome back. I'm Lush, the host of the show. With me are Jess and Fresh, and we're going to have a chat about these two squads. First up, COWANA Gaming, a team that you've been banned from ever picking as your prediction forever. So, Fresh, talk to me.
Well, if I'm Mr. Officer, I'm probably not that happy right now because all the teams that were just below them in the standings for the major have won.
Yeah, that is the worst case scenario.
Vitality won, Rogue have won. It really puts COWANA's back up against the wall. They have to win to stay. If they win, they go back up to, is it second? And they can kind of be in for a shot with a major, but it puts the pressure on them now because all the other teams before them have won. Again, they're being led by Benja and Sloth behind him. Sloth said last week, when COWANA are having a bad day, they've got an 18-year-old fragger who can just pop off, and that is exactly what Benja can do.
He is the second highest rated player in all of EUL. When we're talking about Rookie of the Year, this is the kind of numbers that we mean for someone who's had an extraordinary debut. So he has been elevated. Even with the sledge bans, he's been able to overcome that and put up numbers that are unbeknownst to people who have debuts of his caliber. So, yeah, he's doing pretty damn good if you're wondering what it takes to be some of the best in the league.
I mean, and today on his 7th debut. It's incredible that he's going to be able to pull this off. At least we hope for him. BDS on the other side, I think it's very clear. They need no introduction whatsoever, this team and what they have to offer. Just today, though, it might just be their toughest game yet.
Yeah, I think that if anyone's really going to stick it to them, it's either a French team, which happens to usually be their kryptonite, or a team like COWANA, who has rebuilt themselves into such a massive machine that almost can't be stopped and has redundancy after redundancy after redundancy. That's the scary part about COWANA as a roster, is that, as you said, if you kill the front line, there's another line waiting, and then there's another one waiting after that. So I think for BDS right now, if you're a BDS fan, you're so happy because their blip on the radar was an overtime win. And losing 1 point out of all the points they could have accrued from all their matches thus far, and that's their blip. That is an amazing blip to have, and on anyone's radar, they're not going to care that that's there. So 17 points. They will care about whether they finish first or second, however. Seeding does exist. Things do change up when it comes to things like the major. So that'll be something that they'll be thinking about.
And with a win or an overtime win, they will confirm themselves for the major in Sweden. They'll be the second team confirmed should they win tonight.
So overtime?
I believe an overtime win would confirm them as well, yeah.
There you go.
So at least a couple points today, and you're good to go. All right, I'm very excited for this, though. Let's see which map we're going to have for this matchup. Again, our 4th out of 5.
Come on.
And we're going to go to Coastline.
Des is cursing himself right now.
He really is.
Honestly, he's starting to like it.
He's really happy with Coastline.
The changes have made it less chaotic, let's be honest. It's not like a coin flip like it used to be. I do think the defenders have a much better chance.
When we say Coastline, and it's like, oh, Coastline again. Usually the idea is two teams that are just scrapping away.
Slogging it down.
And it's, I get it. Sometimes it can be exciting, but most of the time it's just end it, please. This is not one of them.
Yeah, I think as Rogue have proved specifically over the past couple of play days, that you can play Coastline with a strategic aspect. You can play for the objective, play for plants, and it doesn't have to be as kind of chaotic team deathmatch style that we've previously seen over the past 12 months or so.
Because of pre-Benja days, COWANA still smashing Rogue 7-1 on it, like in previous stages. I do think that they've got a good history on it, and by adding Benja to the mix, it just makes it even more powerful. So if there was a map you could really stick it to BDS, Coastline and Chalet would be the ones I would throw into the mix there that way, Yeah,
they're definitely level up maps, I think, so.
It's going to be an exciting one. We don't usually see BDS get put on the ropes because their strategy just holds up so well. Their fortification is so strong. You strip that away on Coastline.
That could definitely be the help that you want. Fresh, this is not official predictions. Would you go for COWANA?
Yeah.
It doesn't count the same way.
Now that we know the map.
No.
See, I can't.
No, the thing is I've watched BDS go from this team that were good with a few flaws to a team that are great with some flaws to a team that just don't appear to have any flaws. They've worked on every mistake that they've identified. And like I said, they might lose a game in a league by exception, but it is completely by exception that they would lose, and it would be because of them not putting in the performances they expect.
Yeah, I wouldn't change my prediction. I predicted BDS, and I still, regardless of the map, probably wouldn't change, even though I want to see the best Benger I can see.
That's BDS with all that they have roster-wise, plus having their support staff, which added Bios to a huge veteran of the French scene and competitive Rainbow Six.
Speaking of Vitality.
To them, so... Ex-Vitality player way back in the day. When Furious was a player for the French fans that are out there. This is how long ago we're talking about. So that's a lot to work with. Let's see if COWANA can measure up to it coming in as the underdogs in this game. Just Rest, thank you very much. Let's go again to sunny Ibiza one more time. It's Coastline. We got Ace and Des take us through it. Enjoy.
I've opted to try and do a Tim and do this all the way up. And I just feel like I'm being choked all the time.
Is it getting a bit too hot for you?
It's like Navi's season, it just choking. It's horrible. Anyway, Coastline's coming up. BDS versus COWANA. This one is going to be... I had to get it in there somewhere. Let's see how it shapes up then. Two of the greatest teams. Stop laughing. Two of them.
I had no idea it was coming. I didn't even see it coming. You sold it. You had me hook, line and sinker, Des.
To be honest, I didn't really plan for it. It was just as they threw, I was like...
You had me hook, line and sinker. I thought you were just trying something new with your wardrobe.
Well, it started that way, and then my brain's like, what if you make a joke about someone choking? I thought, okay, well, let's keep it like PG for a start and refer to a team, and that's the path we went down.
Okay.
It's coming undone now. I can't stand it. It's doing my nutting. I don't know how you do it. Fair play to you. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about Coastline again for the second time of the night. COWANA versus BDS. I have bigged these guys up for the longest time. Both teams saying, for my money, BDS was the one I was saying it about exclusively before. For my money, the greatest sum total of gun skill on any team in the world. It just always seems to come unravelled at the most dire of moments, especially at big events. That may change now they've, of course, got a coach on board, and COWANA are fast approaching that benchmark as well, for my money. Now, there's a couple of things in the team still you'd look at. Not at all to put it all on one guy, but Anarchic is their supportive player, isn't regarded as being an incredible gunner. However, that has been improving this stage. We've seen a few multi-kills from him, some big clutches coming out. We saw it against Empire. We saw a 3K come out of him last week. They are starting to shape into a phenomenal team after that dip that we saw after the end of stage one. And I'm starting to think COWANA could be, if they carry on at this rate, one of the new teams to beat, and they could really start it today with a victory against the French side that so far look unbeatable.
Let's not forget, COWANA looked like that in stage one. COWANA came out and really did look dangerous in stage one. They had a dip in stage two, and they seemed to be back to that team that looks dangerous, that looks like it could cause problems. If they can take points off BDS here, particularly with an overtime win or a regulation win, as much as it may feel a little unlikely, a little bit of a mountain to climb, which it is for any team in EUL right now, because BDS are flying. If they can do that, they start mixing up those major positions again, Des. They'll force Vitality out, and they'll move up into that fourth spot. I think they can even challenge Empire for the third spot. I'll have a look as the game goes on. But COWANA can certainly mix things up here, but they're going to need a very good performance in order to do so. They start on the defence, which might not be ideal for Coastline. BDS, I would imagine we're going to see come in with a very strong attack now.
I mean, that's it, right? You might just see a team that comes out and completely shuts COWANA out. I think I'm the only person in the team that has staked a claim on COWANA being able to do this today. I genuinely think if there's a day, and if there is ever going to be a day, it feels like this should be the one, where someone like Shaiko falls quiet and the other side really step up. This would be that day. Just imagine Benja dropping 20 kills against BDS. What a first season that would be for him. Or a first stage of show, I should say. But it's not easy against the French squad. Anyway, let's see how things shape up. Looking out towards the comps on either side. No Jaeger present coming through, but there is still that one Mai. And naturally, you're going to see the side of COWANA get a little bit cheeky here and just try and shut BDS down in the early round. It's been the one thing I've always said about BDS. For teams that get up in their faces and disrupt them, that's when you often find wins. If you leave them with all 5 left alive coming for the execute, well, start saying your prayers, get ready for the next round, because things are definitely not going to go well.
Rafael just collected his drone there now, then Sloth's going to... No! He's gone wrong! He's missed his impact nade! Sorry, I've got to call you out there, Sloth. I've got to say it as I see it. And that one wasn't ideal. He was looking for a run out there, I think. You just hit the corner of the barricade with the impact nade. It disappears. You jump out. It's a very quick way of jumping out without knocking the barricade and giving that sound warning. But Sloth just missing the mark there. It happens to the best of us, Des. Or maybe he was just trying to worry him. Maybe he was just trying to worry him.
It's all about sending a message. Ain't about getting the kill or even breaking open the barricade.
I mean, breaking the barricade would still send the message, I guess, but, you know.
This is a different kind of message.
It happens to the best of us.
It does. Oh, C4 below, potentially. But Renshi starting off on to Sloth, the man who we saw trying to be a bit of a rat. Not really living up to his animalistic name there, but it's one that you'll take as an opening kill on the side of BDS. And now you're probably wondering where the second entry is on the side of COWANA. Normally that is Benja. C4's already been deployed here, so not really anything to come off the back of it. Worth noting, by the way, the 3 C4s on the side of COWANA are stacked in to help them when it comes round to the potential post plant, or sorry, the plant going down, because look at it, there is no smoke on side.
Look at this from Grizzly.
What?
Gets himself out onto the roof, back inside, finds a kill onto Alems, but Playday looks alive, spins it round and hits the man on the turn. Gets himself a good kill there, but Alems was the Hibana taken down, so it's going to leave that quad wall closed. There'll be no angle opened up, but I'm not sure BDS are going to need the angle, Des, as Renshiro finds one, Rafal finds an R-kick, 1 versus 4. It's all up to Benja. We know he's got the talent. He finds Rafal, but shut down by Renshiro on the window. That's going to be an opening round for BDS, and you can see, I always love what you've commented on it as well, Des. Renshiro is always so animated. Every round they win, it's round 1 and he's in there celebrating it.
Which is funny because he looks like such a quiet guy normally.
He's generally, yeah, very, very sort of laid back and quiet.
Yeah, I wish Fresh was like him sometimes when we just, you know, be quiet, pipe down, play the game, do his job.
I think we all wish
Not
that,
always the
Des.
way. Sometimes we do, but alas. But yeah, big first round coming out of BDS, and all of it on the back of Renshiro. Well, not all of it, but 3K coming out from him, dealing with Sloth being, well, Sloth and running out trying to be aggressive around the map, and then 2 coming in from the hookah window, and all Benja could really do was cross his fingers and his pinky toes and hope for the very best. But BDS aren't the kind of team to let up there and let you pull off a 1 versus 4 clutch. Good convincing first round, and COWANA going to have to buck their ideas up a little bit.
I'm going to make a pretty big stake a big claim for Renshiro here, Des. You know, we often talk about the best players in Siege, the best players in the world, the best players we've ever had, and it generally, a lot of it revolves around frags. You look at players like Nest, like Palu, and just their absolute slaying ability, Pengu's flexibility particularly, and, you know, ability to just win unwinnable situations. But Renshiro, I want to give a shout, as for my money, and I always say one of, because you can never claim an absolute top spot for anybody, but Renshiro is without a doubt one of the most consistently good players that we've ever seen in this game. The consistency that he puts up numbers with, he may not come in and beat Sharko for frags, but he just gets 2Ks, 3Ks over and over again.
The thing is, we must have this conversation every 2 weeks about a different player on BDS. Like Playday up there, you know, as a supportive player. One of the best support player, if not one of the best players, full stop, even amongst a sea of fraggers, like Sharko being on side, Renshiro, as consistent as he is. Even looking towards, you know, Bilem's had a bit of a rough couple of stages, I'd say, but definitely starting to get back in form now that he's able to focus on what he's doing in the game. And even Rafal, a player that many would look at and go, arguably the weakest player on BDS now.
Not a chance, not a chance.
Look at the stats, consistently ranked 2nd and 3rd in the team, just always behind the player that's popping off in the stage. And speaking of popping off, Benja with a 2K in Hall of Fame, 1 trying to push in, challenging off towards the window as well. This is the kind of early disruption I was talking about, and what person better to do it than Benja himself?
If Benja manages to get himself to a corner station at some point and juice back up, which after he's got a 3rd, he's not even going to go near one, Des, because he's got the diffuser down. He's waiting for the next challenge. That's 4. He's absolutely unstoppable right now on a complete tear in round 2, and he's torn BDS apart.
I so badly wanted to do this. He's only called Benja in game, but Benja Master was his full name for the longest time, and he's about to demonstrate mastery over BDS if he can find the last. Renshiro is alone inside of Sunrise, and I'm wondering if Benja's going to go on a lurk here. You know, this one's going straight in the Twitter bio if he does net it out, but either way he looks at it, it's a team-based game first, and there's 90
He's
seconds
playing the
still to
diffuser.
play.
This is what I love.
He's playing a smart man.
He's not thinking about the ace. He's not thinking about getting himself back to a corner station. He's playing on that diffuser because he knows that Renshiro has to go for it at some point.
Nope, he's down now.
No, forget it. I want the ace.
Boys, please. An R-kick, please. Go on, then. And off he goes, trying to see what he can find. Now, Benja isn't the healthiest himself, mind you, right? He's 1 shot away from death. Renshiro, he's a good shot. You give him the time in the fight. Oh, the shot coming back.
He's
in.
a good
I thought
shot,
Benja-
Des. He's a good
I
shot.
thought Benja had surely seen him first, but no, the dreams of the ace BDS out of his line here, not in the thoughts anymore. But Renshi's still got to deal with 4 more members of COWANA inside 45 seconds, and I don't have to be a fortune teller, Tim, to tell you that's going to be a tough task.
Certainly is, and it's an unlikely one at that. He's using the vertical angles up through the hatch, see if he can find anything. He's going to get caught out on Cool Vibes if he pushes up, because he's got Anarchic lead prone with a shot in hand, and Sloth, very clever there. Clever play from Sloth. Just putting a few bullets down onto Cool Vibes stairs. I think to take Renshiro's attention away should he try to push up. He's naturally going to be ADSing at Vars there, and it's going to give Anarchic an absolute freebie. But Renshiro decides instead to take it to the outside. He's going to head to Hooker Deck and see if he can find anybody in the building. Cannot, as Gorgona shuts him down on a head glitch from the bomb. That is going to be COWANA tying things up, and I genuinely think we could be on for one of the Stage 3 classic matchups here.
I want more of that round as well, you know. I mean, I don't want it from BDS's perspective of 4 of them just walking into the meat grinder that was Benja in the round. But that kind of intensity coming out of, again, a player that only recently joined Tier 1 play and, you know, is blowing everyone's away. Expectations, everything. Surprising everyone. We love to see it. Penthouse Theatre going to be the second site of the match because, of course, we just saw Hookah and Billiards repeated twice and the Mirror being 6th picked in. On the other side, it's going to be the Lion. I did wonder if we'd see something like a Jackal or the Lion being brought out to deal with these roamers, knowing that you have players like Sloth and Benja both getting off site and looking to cause trouble.
Penthouse Theatre it is then. Immediately, Wama magnets being placed near that double window. Aruni, laser gate as well, which should just tell you how much emphasis COWANA are going to put on trying to keep control of that double window. Most attacks onto this site are orchestrated from there. You want to get a man on the rappel, because you can pretty much control the top side of the site. You can control master bedroom if you've got double window. And at that point, there's a nice little corner just on the right-hand side of your screen. Thank you very much, where you can get that diffuser down just inside of that double window and just try to get it locked out. And that's got to be something that COWANA deal with. You know, they're going to try to keep hold of VIP because that gives them angles to challenge across master bedroom and onto that exact area that I'm talking about. Left-hand side of your screen now. They've also shot the floor out on the default plant spot, Des. So they're already thinking about the potential of that diffuser going down later in the round and how they can challenge onto it.
Yeah, that one that you're seeing on the soft wall, you may be wondering, well, why not the reinforced wall? It's because he can play on 90 there and rotate between the two as he wants to, which will make this a real high-traffic area in the round. BDS surely wanted to get in there and force the members of COWANA away from 90 who will be playing on it. And I was going to say first focus will always begin up on the VIP wall, and when a lot of teams would look to remove things like electro claws and go for a more conventional breach here, it is going to be the Maverick of Playday starting to do some work. They've also got the rappel they can play on, let's not forget, so you can play the kind of lines as you would do if you were lying on the beam in, say, I don't know, Big Tower on Oregon, seeing your way down through Attic, a much similar sort of setup, and you've also got Rafael holding off on this double window. So, already restrictions coming in against COWANA on where they're allowed to play in the round. Should make things relatively comfortable for the side of BDS, at least to begin with. That is until, of course, the shooting starts.
Explosives go off inside of VIP, no damage done. We've got the Maverick hole opened and the defenders pretty much forced back to 90 corridor, but there's 2 of them that are staying there and looking to challenge. They've got a peak hole and a rotation hole that look in there, but Shaiko says, I'm not going down so easily this time, as he finds a kill onto Grizzly, but it's not his choice, Des, as Benja steps in and says, oh yes you will, finds himself a headshot once again and just continues the onslaught that he brought in round 2.
Just doming Shaiko like it's nothing as well. The trade straight back in. Shaiko shut out of the round. Benja moving his way up to 6 kills in 3 so far. Great start. But him being dug a little bit deeper in here does mean it's going to be these longer angle fights into Hall of Fame as they start pushing in. You can see from COWANA as well how devout they are to holding down 90. They want that control. I did want to touch on the drones about 60 seconds ago. There were only 5 left for BDS. However, they've kept all 5 alive since that point. So not too bad so far. I was worried that COWANA might completely shut down any intel game they had on the go. Well, they can see the site is clear. It has been vacated, but now you've got to worry about the longer angles and those mirror windows that COWANA have got set up.
Renshiro just trying to push into VIP there, but he knows that it's still contested. Benja just playing on those vertical angles that I spoke about. They were opened up in the prep phase to allow challengers like that. Now they're aware. Stepping forward, and Renshiro absolutely deletes Benja out of the round. Gorgona manages to get the trade, and that's something that COWANA have done well so far. They've managed to keep themselves level. 3 versus 3, 23 seconds left to go, and BDS, they've got to find a way here, Des. It's a tough nut to crack right now, is this defense. And Elems, he gets cracked for 99 damage as he finds himself on an absolute sliver of health remaining now. Sloth, he's just going to hold on to this angle. In comes the EE1D scan to try and help BDS into sight. It does get them moving, but 2 versus 2 all of a sudden. It's down to Sloth, and he's going to win it based on the time he manages to hit 1 kill. And there is nothing the final member of BDS can do with that diffuser down cold on the ground.
It's so tight between both teams. Like, even looking at execute, you know, one player gets a kill and it's not like they're following up with a 2, 3, 4K. It's just constant trades coming back and forth from the opening kill from Shaiko with Benji getting it back to that one there for Gorgona getting the kill in towards Hall of Fame, only to get traded out straight after. So it's a game of fine margins, it's starting to feel like, as we warm into this one. 3 rounds in, COWANA do have 2 on the board. Kitchen and Service, the third site of choice for the game. I'm wondering if there's anything else spicy coming out from either side in terms of the lineups. The answer really still is standing as no. This may be a much better case, I think, for the Lion to be in, because for COWANA in that last round, they were all based around the site. No one was off roaming really far off across the map. Outside of Grizzly on the Jaeger being caught out by Shaiko, it was a pretty turtle-based round in a way. Not so much playing on the site, but playing in very near proximity to it to be able to defend it well.
COWANA looking great so far, coming and making a real matchup of this coastline. I said at the beginning I was a little bit concerned about if we saw BDS come in with a really strong attacking half, exactly how the map was going to look, but so far so good for COWANA. They've been able to really shut them down and sort of keep them at bay. That last one was a little bit close, down to a 1v2, but Sloth nice and cool in those last few seconds, able to close it out, and you always felt like they had it in control at least.
You said that earlier on, kill down, wasn't it?
Cool down.
Cool down.
It's because you've laughed at me for this before. Words like cool and school, I use 2 syllables in there, so instead of school, it's school. It's like 2 syllables to me.
It's just bizarre. Between that and Laser Gates, mate, honestly, I'm full of it. You're just full of entertainment.
Benja, is he going to find his man on the upside down rappel? Absolutely not. Elem's able to take the Thunderbird down, and there's going to be no more kills for Benja in round number 4. He's going to have to settle for 6 in 3, which is where he currently stands. Elem's able to open up that penthouse hatch. There's a real option now for BDS to come in, swarm through this top floor, take control, and start getting those vertical angles down into sight, and they've done it very quickly, Des.
The nice thing is, of course, you have the Sledge and the Buck both still alive at this point too, so that is a lot of vertical destruction to come singing through. Of course, you had the 6 frags on side, 1 already consumed, so you'll happily go down to 5. That is quick maths for you. I'm just thinking here, with that kind of pressure already removed away from Benja, it's going to be a lot of time cut away from what would normally be a heavy roam game. And
Elems, how do you win those?
A 3K in the round, all the roamers decimated on the side of COWANA. The 5 versus 2, and surely that's going to be a shutdown.
I've absolutely no idea how Elems goes in and wins those 2 fights, particularly the first onto the man at billiards table. He was at every disadvantage in that gunfight, but managed to turn it around. Gorgona making a challenge onto Hall of Fame. He refuses to give up, Des. He's not giving them VIP easily. Diffuser is down. There's a man on double window. He's caught out in a crossfire, and Rafal is the one to finally get the kill. 1 versus 3, and this is a situation we've seen a little bit too often recently for my liking on COWANA, Des. Anarchic in these final moments, facing a 1vx situation.
Imagine being bared down on by Shaiko, Elems and Rafal as well.
Not ideal, is it?
Enough to get the nerves going for anyone, I think, but let's see what he can pull off here. Yet to find himself a kill in the game. It's not going to start here either. Elems with another shutdown and making it a 4K for himself in the round. It's like, you hit us hard, we'll hit you back double fold.
That's the thing. If you're going to hit BDS, you better be ready for what comes back, because you know there's going to be something. They do not get steamrolled, and they are keeping themselves nice and competitive in this one. It levels things up at 2-2 now on the scoreboard, and we are poised for a spicy affair here. There's absolutely no 2 ways about it. We're going to be heading to Kitchen and Service once again. COWANA feeling like there's maybe a little bit more they can offer for that side. I think if they can keep top floor control for a little bit longer, maybe it goes differently. They find themselves very quickly at a man disadvantage there.
I just love the individual moments of team play that we saw in the round, and also the micro nuance out of Elems here, because when he gets this one opening kill, he's already far back to the left-hand side of luggage. So that line of sight that would normally come from luggage to guarantee the trade here doesn't exist. So COWANA are trying to make a 2v1, and they're playing it completely right. They're swinging at the same time. They want to get the trade play off, but Alems, that micro step to the left is enough to keep himself safe from the would-be aggressor in luggage. It was beautiful. And as I said earlier on, you leave BDS with more men left alive at the end of the round, they are going to slap you about with brilliant execution and team play. Look at Gorg, for example, when he was inside a penthouse.
Beautiful.
2, 3 angles all shooting onto it once, lion scans, drones at his feet. He could do nothing to stop that coming in. And that is the kind of team you're coming up against, where even the small details are getting them kills that arguably other teams would not find.
Oppressive is the only word that you can use to describe that situation, particularly for COWANA. He was just absolutely wedged in a corner. I think he was ultimately shot through a soft wall as well. It was just all about the clarity of the communication as to his exact location. Now, Benja getting active inside of the map once again. He's going to squirrel himself off into security for the time being, but he's definitely going to be looking for one of those deadly rotations where he can move and try and hit BDS on the flank. Now, Shaiko going straight to service door, using, I think, the Gon 6 just to clear out a little bit of utility there. So we could see a slightly different push coming out from BDS this time.
Yeah, I always speak about this luggage hold that you want, security hold that you can do, or inside a lobby with the whole angles up in towards site, and you just play for the long denial points on the side of the defenders rather than worrying about all playing inside of sites itself. No doubt once he's here again here as well. Thank you very much, Mr. Observer. I believe we got easy this game, I want to say.
It is easy. It is.
Easy. Oh,
Easy's doing game 3 and 4
1, 2,
today.
5, and then Easy does 3, 4. Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. Easy. So you can see that wonderfully long angle, which is why COWANA want to be holding inside of the lobby and holding security. That's why you've also got some pressure coming in from the east side. I believe that's from Shaiko playing out on the service entrance doorway. So, as always, multi-angled attacks coming in from BDS. It's not a simple one-point push. They want it all. Renshiro's in. Oh my god, surely he was going to dome the man, but it's an Arctic finding the reverse kill. A little bit of a low aim coming in there from Renshiro, expecting the man to be crouched, and simply wasn't the case.
No, an Arctic there just changing his stance and managing to look at that from Alems. It was almost casual as he shot the Nitro out, but it doesn't matter because Grizzly was even more casual with the headshot that he got onto him. Don't want my explosives, that's fine, take my bullets instead. 5 versus 2 now as COWANA manages to find Rafal, and this is another round that is just going all in one team's direction. It just seems that either of these two teams have got so much capability just to grab a hold of a round and really take advantage of that fact. Now 4 versus 2, COWANA coming into that final minute, and Shaiko and Playday, they've got to find a way.
Still don't know about the man, I think just inside of the lobby here as well. One crouched down behind the desk, I believe it is COWANA, just waiting for someone to step in. It's got the support and backup of Benja just behind him too. And everything just freezes. It's not quite a server crash, ladies and gents, don't panic. Is the player's just taking a few more seconds. A drone coming in. Surely Shaiko can't find COWANA. Gorg gets the shutdown, a 4v1. And looks like COWANA should be able to pull us up to 3 and 2. I'm really excited about seeing how COWANA's attacks go, mind you.
Yep.
It's where we've criticised them a lot in the past for being a little bit uncoordinated. That could be where BDS pull ahead.
COWANA just showing us perfectly how to play off of a Malusi Banshee there as Shaiko pushed in. Just gave him all the information that he needed to pop up from behind the reception desk and check him out, let alone check him in. Now then, COWANA, he finds that final kill as well, moving his way back in. He's going to pick up the man inside of the bathroom as he tries to push in through service entrance. COWANA take the round and they are now up 3-2. And apart from that first round, Des, BDS haven't been in the lead yet. No, you are absolutely right. It's been a bit of a rough affair, I want to say, for them. I mean, expectedly, again, you're against a very good team in EY. You can't look at this game in any way and say, BDS slipping out of form, not being able to win games. They're against a very good team. It was expected that this would be close. I just didn't quite expect maybe this close so far. Penthouse and Theatre going to be the final site we jump into for the defensive side of COWANA. We saw them go here, of course, back in round 3. A very heavy reinforcement strat set up around 90. No one on the BDS side really pressuring it at all. We saw White Window potentially being repelled on. We saw the focus on the big window. Hall of Fame being a push. Also inside of VIP. But that was almost exactly what COWANA wanted. They were happy playing in 90 and saying, hey, we've got 2 mirror windows here. You want to step inside? By all means do so. We can see everything that you are doing. And I expect this round is going to be no different. As you say, probably going to be a very similar setup coming in from COWANA. The question is, what can BDS do differently? Need to get in, I think, and get a man advantage for starters. They don't want to be pushing into sight like they were last time at maybe even man count, 10 seconds left to go, and it all gets a little bit frantic. BDS for this site need to be getting good control over VIP, force everybody out, deal with the players in 90 corridor. As you said, they're going to keep peeking you from behind mirror windows all day long if you give them the opportunity. That needs to be cleared out. Maybe a little bit of a presence in Hooker and Billiards push across from there, and Shiro is having absolutely none of that spawn peek from Sloth.
It's one of those games where Sloth's playstyle, I think, with how erratic it is, how kind of wild it is, a structured team like BDS are just going to deal with it. They'll see you on flank drones. They'll be prepared, watching every window going, and they'll have a way to deal with you. Benja trying to do much the same, and the man running past him on the other side of pool entrance, if he'd stayed a bit longer, may have had a freebie into the back of the head of the new Wonder Kid on the block. Got to rotate himself back away here, playing on the downstairs entirely by himself. This is where a lot of it just comes down to intuition on when is the right time to retreat. Where could the drones be, for example? How long can I keep myself alive?
Benja, he's going to take down some of that information utility, getting himself a drone from Cool Vibes stairs and just looking to pressure up onto the flanks. And I questioned whether BDS maybe try to get some presence in Hooker and Billiards and work from that side to deal with 90 corridor, but right now, that Nitro is going to be a little bit short, I think, but the information coming out, maybe that he's just a little bit deeper. Benja's holding on to it for the time being. It's as if he's just waiting for a bit of information, Deza. Don't know necessarily what they've got set up there. He's not going to have any joy as he gets shut down by Lems, leaving us now 5 versus 2 as BDS take a commanding lead here. And as I said, they needed to on this site. They need that man advantage, and now they can think about pushing into site.
Right idea of thinking what they were looking for, but unfortunately just not going to play out for Benja. Notice how the mirror window's been rotated away ever so slightly, by the way, this time onto the south side of theatre, rather than looking into VIP, almost like they expected the change to come in. Lems with another kill onto Gorgona puts us in a 1 versus 5, and Arkit, not really the kind of guy, again, to win out fights like these, will find himself a down, but is down to a slither of HP, and has got it still to do against 4 players. Flashed out white screen, easy shutdown. It's going to be a flawless round for BDS.
You got to feel for an Arkit there. In his movement, you could feel the pressure that he was under. It was, you know, he was turning this way and that, but everywhere he went, he knew he was stepping into a line of sight. And even then, when he managed to find himself the small, minute bit of cover that was available in 90 corridor, he gets full white flashed right in the face, and they come in and get that final kill. Levels things up 3-3 on the half, and that sets us up for what could be fireworks in this second half. Des, BDS go on to the defense, and now what are COWANA's attacks made of?
Well, you're about to find out. Hopefully more of a battering ram than whatever they were last stage, that's for sure. It didn't look too hot for them back in last stage. I referred to it a lot with being C4'd from below, with long angles not being covered, and attacks just generally looking very fragmented is the best way I can describe it. Like there wasn't quite a full team unity piece behind it. I'm hoping here we are going to see more of that stepping in. Benja, of course, with it not being banned away, over to his good old main in the Sledge. They've drawn 2 bans, I believe, this stage onto the Sledge purely because of Benja playing on this operator. They saw him in week 1 or 2 and was like, right, Sledge is getting banned away then. None of that, thank you.
The problem is it's a little bit like when people used to ban Ash to target Shaiko. Benja's the sort of player that will just take somebody else and kill everybody on the map anyway.
Still do
that's,
plenty
you know,
fine.
that's what we've seen, and it's no surprise to see, you know, Benja's new to tier 1. Teams come in, think, right, yeah, let's try target banning him, see if he's a one-trick pony, see if we can slow him down. But unfortunately, I don't think that's really the case with a player like Benja. His aim is just so good that, you know, he'll find somebody else. He'll find a way to find those kills.
He has been very quiet since I think it was the 3rd round where he got his 6th and final kill of the half. Didn't get anything in rounds 4 to 6. BDS just, I think, beginning to adapt to him, getting the 2 rounds on the board they sorely needed outside of round 5. which did kind of come off the back of two very good kills from Anarchic and Grizzly in round number 5. Looks to be maybe a rush getting set up here as well. They're starting to squeeze themselves up. Here we go. Straight in there, trying to blow out the Banshee, and in the go, charging the way forwards. Out comes the Lion Scan. They're in looking for kills. Surely you see him behind the bar. You know that he's there. 2 kills out of nowhere, but the Vars player is still up. Sloth gets to shut down Trey coming in into a 4 versus 2. The question is, where is the plant? Anarchic, now's your time. In front of the reinforced wall. There's one on Cool Vibes holding in. Starting to push his way up. Grizzly has got the window. Surely they can stop him, but Shaiko finds Anarchic. That's exactly what you're looking for. He's come up behind them, gets shut down by Sloth. He finds a 3k in the round. Gonna stick out the plant. Alems, the 1 versus 2. Can he do it all inside a hookah? I think Sloth doesn't really want to go for the plant. He wants to look for the kills, and he goes for it. Forces the man to run into the nade. And how many times we've said it this game, it's another 4k. Benja in round 2, Alems in round 4, and now Sloth in round 7.
Well, what a play from COWANA, coming in and taking BDS completely by surprise there. How many times have we seen that COWANA rush, Des? We know that it's something they've got in the locker. We know it's something that they like to deploy. Sometimes you like to throw train sounds over the top of it.
Stole my joke. I was going to say they hit teams like trains, I was going to say.
And they've just done it again there. And they've shown a great mastery and understanding of how and why it works and when particularly. Will they get away with it again? No. BDS will be ready for it, but COWANA won't even try it again. The fact is that it's worked. It's got them around, and if they win this match by 1 round, that could be the round that it got them.
I'd pay to see them try it again, though.
I'd love to see it tried a second time.
I've never seen a team try 2 rush rounds in a row, just on the basis of, like you say, there's a bit more expectation and preparedness on the other side. They'll be a bit more comfortable and ready for it. And sure enough, here we saw the Malusi Banshee popped out pretty much straight away in the prior round. As soon as the sledge smashed open the door, the drones identified there was a Banshee on top of the pool table, and they dealt with that pretty expertly, and the rest for them there was a straight charge forward. A comfortable round for COWANA, but it is just the one, and we've seen how back and forth this game has been so far. I'm not convinced that's quite going to be their path to victory just yet.
Possibly not. We've got a couple of players underneath at the moment. Reinforcements are still going on. We're into the action phase. That quad wall is just going to get sorted out inside of sight. Renshiro, I think, has just moved his way back upstairs, and we've got Elems underneath, and we've got Renshiro's still underneath. Actually, I thought I'd seen him just
3 on the roam,
scarpering back up Cool Vibe stairs, but absolutely not. It's Shaiko who actually returns to site first, which makes sense. Shaiko doesn't too often play too far out on the roam. He prefers to hold his spots, his angles, and just let people feed into him, which they so often do.
Perimeter player is what I like to call him. Yeah, Elems is normally the one you think of going out on the roam, although obviously a second ago you saw Shaiko out in luggage. That's because in case a rush did come in again, at least that time around they'd have an answer.
That's
Shaiko
the angle I'm talking about.
And look at him find himself tucked in the corner here. Can anyone else find him? Benja wins the trade back in. Sees the man step out, but can they get a nade around the corner here? And Arkic still looking to challenge. Nade comes out, it's straight into the ADS. Grizzly into another. There's no one there, Benja. He's long gone here, buddy. Look out towards Cool Vibes, but you've still got Shaiko playing off down towards that side, I believe. In fact, I'm a liar, and I apologise, because Breday's still dug in. He was just on the deck, so I didn't see him on the corner of my screen, you silly Billy. Alem's working his way back up, has got the visa control, and they're expecting something from Hookah, and fairly so, but it's still a 4 versus 3 for COWANA, and we've still got 100 seconds left, Ace.
This is it. Everything has just slowed down for COWANA, and that's not the end of the world. They've gone in, they've done the damage, they've found themselves 2 kills, and now they're on the drones. Now they're reassessing, and then they're going to reposition. They're going to go for that execute later on in the round. They're certainly not going to rush this now. They've got the man advantage, and this could be big, Des. If they get this round, they're 5-3 up, and they've got some breathing room now. Gogona, he's going to start the next phase of this push. He's looking to get himself into Aquarium. Spotted out by the default cam, so BDS will be well aware that he is pushing in from here, but he's just going to look to hold the angle onto the rotate there. Doesn't have a line of sight through to the man on the back of sight. Goes in, trapped in the Banshee. Lems finds Benja. Can Gogona deal with the man behind the shield? He doesn't need to, as Anarchic gets it. Grizzly finds Lems. Grizzly finds Renshiro. And COWANA, they find round number 8, and they find themselves with a 2-round lead against top of the table, unbeaten BDS.
Like I say, you've just got so much, what can I even say to describe it? The passion behind the 2 teams, the gun skill, everything. This is the peak siege that you will get in EUL, I think. These are, for my money, although the rankings don't always show it, 2 of the best teams that we currently have. And one thing I was just about to comment on it, and it's just been changed in. The smoke for Breday. He's been bringing the Chanka an awful lot in a meta where Finka is more popular than ever. You're seeing her brought by basically every single team all the time. The healing that she brings, the nades, the Gone 6, you name it, so much that she brings to a team right now that I'm kind of surprised we aren't seeing more smoke being brought along. And you might wager, well, especially at the pro level, a lot of teams will chuck out the smokes, the attacking team will back away. They don't really inhale the smoke, so it's not really that valuable. But I just think if you can force a couple of difficult situations in the rushes, in the plants, whatever it might be, where Breday is often the last one left alive, those smokes could be pivotal.
Well, the thing is, you sometimes get those situations where a plant's halfway going down and then the toxic babe comes out and the planter can stick it because they can take a few breaths of it, no problem. You add that Finker boost into the mix, and all of a sudden, that isn't really a viable option anymore. So at that point, the attackers then need to be much more cautious about making sure that that utility has been dealt with and that it's not going to come out, or they need to be very careful about controlling how and when they use those nanobot boosts from the Finker. So, as you say, Breeder this time bringing along the smoke. We'll see how much of an impact that has. We're heading down for a BDS defense of Kitchen this time, see what they can cook up here in round number 9. They're going to be looking to get around here, Des, because if COWANA take this, it's guaranteed overtime as a minimum, and it's a potential 3 match points.
Oh, the El Clasico here for COWANA as well. An Arctic droning sloth all the way through into security. They see a man up there. Grenade comes out as well. Will they catch him? Oh. Yes, they will. Ooh. Freebie onto LM's the only way I can describe it. You'll be asking questions maybe as to why he couldn't quite find the kill. Sometimes that happens. They miss shots. Sloth is still down to about 40 HP. Rafal, the second line of defense. Shaiko surely would have been another, but Benja's on a tear. He doesn't stop here. He doesn't stop there. Unless Breeder shows up, in which case and gets the shutdown. A 4 versus 2. And again, 2 minutes, 10 seconds to play with Ace.
This is it. COWANA are just completely and utterly out-aggressing BDS. Now, Breeder finds one. Can he find a second without moving his feet? Rafal's on the drop down into Courtyard. It's 2 versus 3, and BDS, they need a big play from somebody, and Arkic's going to take a lot of damage there. He manages to dip himself away and live to fight another day. He's actually getting the diffuser down. Can Rafal get into a position to make a challenge here? No, he cannot, and it is secured. Breeder moves in and gets the kill, but it doesn't matter, and Arkic's job was done at that point. They've got 2 more to find, but they can't get Gorgona before he finds Rafal. It's all up to Breeder now in a 1 versus 2, and this could be a lifeline that BDS just desperately need. He peppers shots through the blue bar wall, but he will find nobody. He just misses the peak into the main corridor, and with about 10 seconds left to play with, he's got 2 kills to find. He's got a man on kitchen window. This is done, Des. There is no way that BDS win this round from here. He manages to take chip after chip after chip onto Gorgona, but the only one left fried is going to be Breeder as Gorgona hits the deck, slides out, finds the kill, and COWANA take themselves onto match point.
We love a competitive league, Ace. Is the only thing I can say. This season has been wild up and down, and COWANA are running away with it. They've got themselves sat at 6-3 against BDS. That's a dream scoreline. The French side have got to take a time out. They've got to figure out what can they do to fight their way back in. Otherwise, that crown they've got at the top of the table suddenly doesn't look so clear. I believe if they won this game, they would be guaranteed to be going to the major in November. That's now not guaranteed. There is still, albeit a very wild outside chance, a possibility they couldn't make it.
Absolutely that. You know, if we have a look at, I'm just going to have a quick look at the standings as they are. BDS are on 17 points. And when you talk about them potentially not making it, you've got to look at the 4 teams below them all getting ahead of them effectively. Now, the problem for BDS here is that COWANA are the ones beating them. So those 3 points chip directly away at that lead that they have.
And the head-to-head.
Exactly that. So COWANA go on to 14 points, meaning that the top 4 teams then would be, aside from BDS, would be Rogue, Empire, Vitality and COWANA. Vitality would have the least points of them on 12. There's 6 points left available. So if all 4 of those teams, Rogue, Empire, Vitality and COWANA, were to win out and BDS were somehow to lose the next 2 games as well, they wouldn't make the major. It is still an outside shot. I'm sure BDS are going to be fairly comfortable in their position for the major. But the reality for them is the opportunity is there to secure that position here and now. And it's not looking likely that they're going to do it, Des, and they're going to have to take it in to week number 8.
There was a fun little chat going on in Discord earlier, actually. I think Fresh was involved with someone called D, and they were having a discussion about BDS and saying, right, is it time to start predicting them to win SI? To be fair, Fresh didn't say that. D was saying, come on, Fresh, get on the hype train. And he was like, let's not jump ahead of ourselves just yet. You'll go with it. All right, well, Fresh is staking his claim early as they're currently 6-3 down, saying that they're going to win SI. Not too sure how convinced I am by that, but we'll give it good time. They've still got time to work with naturally as well, don't forget. They've only had bars with them for, I think just before the major, they said that he'd joined them and started working with them. This is a team that has still got more room to grow, and we know that. But that's the problem, is that everyone else around you also continues to grow, and COWANA are showing they are one of those teams that want to be up there at the top.
This is the thing, you know, I at the minute have to put BDS into the same bracket as Team Liquid, and that is one of the most able and talented teams that we have had that haven't won major LAN events.
Always the stage, but never the spotlight.
Exactly that, and we don't want to see it. I'd love to see Team Liquid win an event. I'd love to see BDS win an event and have those moments and cement those legacies. And hopefully in the future, at some point, somewhere down the line, it may be something that we see. But right now, it's not looking likely that Team BDS are going to be getting themselves a win secured today, at least.
Let's see how this potential last round plays out then for the side of COWANA, pushing their way in relatively rapidly. I mean, relative to other rounds, no, this is incredibly slow, like snail-paced. But compared to other teams, you wager maybe quite quick, with the Lion Scanner assisting them on their way in. A couple of players, Grizzly and Gorgona, off on the drones here, making sure the supports can get themselves inside the building as well. So, always kind of supporting each of the move and cover, back and forth. And Lems, the one on the Vigil, looking to cause a bit of trouble, but not being given the option to do just that. The focus coming in from COWANA is going to be this north side, but they want to pinch onto a Roma or two by the looks of it. They see the man downstairs, a bit of damage lands onto Renshiro, but none of those bullets hitting the head means he doesn't find himself dead just yet.
No, he'll live to fight another day, and we know that Renshiro can do an awful lot with just a little bit of life, so they need to still be very aware of the Malusi and the damage that can be done. Benja's getting into billiards now, starting to open up the floors. As you say, they're just on the chase of these Romas, wanting to force them back to site, or better yet, find kills onto them and get themselves a man advantage before they have to push in. They're going to be looking to get a plant down again, potentially, and Arkic was able to secure that for them last time, and the Gemini clone just moving into office there will force the man back, and the BDS line nowadays is completely off to the south side of the map.
Yeah, being moved around but not dying, which is the most important part, right? They are moving as the pressure comes in, but not quite giving up everything. They're making COWANA fight for the ground they want to get control of, which is completely understandable. That's why you've got two defenders hanging out now currently on the south side towards luggage. I spoke about these, I always say luggage, security. It's why you've got two hanging out inside of bars. They want to play those longer angles. They're playing the same sort of game that COWANA did, but COWANA haven't yet applied enough pressure to really make it work for them. They're going to have to panic a little bit here, and this is the kind of round I look at where I say, okay, at 25 seconds left, it's a 10-man game. I don't see how COWANA walk away the winner.
Make that a 9-man game as Rafal manages to get himself a kill onto Sloth to open things up, and that tactical timeout for BDS is looking like it might just have done the job, Des. They are looking much better inside of this round, completely slowed COWANA down and taken all the sting out of their attack, and Arkic found himself in a 1v5, able to find one but then shut down immediately. BDS, they come out from the tactical timeout fighting, get themselves around, and it's 6-4, and it really feels like it could be game on.
That was a really masterclass in my mind of how to defend without throwing your life in there. Just forcing Lion scans to come out, a couple of nades to be tossed around, time to be consumed without losing a single man or barely even taking, well, giving no damage over to the other side, full stop, really. Just very well played by BDS to run that clock down and force COWANA into a difficult predicament in the final 30 seconds or so. Let's see then how Hookah and Billiards goes. This one a bit more direct, as we've seen out of COWANA. I'd love to see them just try and say, well, you know what, let's rush again. We've got a couple of bites of the cherry. Let's use one of them to go for something a little bit chaotic, and seeing that come through.
I tell you what,
this could be that kind of round.
It certainly could be. And the thing is, it is the kind of thing that could work. We always say you won't get away with it a second time. But as you say, if the defensive teams are of that mindset as well, then maybe you do, because maybe they're not ready for it. But some barbed wire has gone down on the default plant spot from the Maestro, so that would at least certainly slow things down a little bit. But they were very prepared for that last time, Des. If you remember, the Gon 6 shot came straight in to clear that sort of utility out. It was aimed at just underneath the billiards table to clear out anything that could be in the path, and there goes the second one. So I think they are definitely planned for.
Big difference though is two sets of barbed wire stacked up on this side of the bomb as well, whereas before it was none the first time, it was two, one the second time, and now it's two. I imagine you'll also find yourself with the Banshee being deployed off here. Maybe you'll see Shoko out towards luggage again, just to have the side angle in case we do see that kind of push coming in. In fact, right now he's even playing downstairs on the below, but I imagine he'll rotate away. Doesn't really want to get himself caught up in office with the potential of this round and how it could break down. Of course, a big one to look at is the number of Hawaiian magnets and ADSs that are also stacked around there. They could rain on the parade of COWANA if not careful.
COWANA certainly not going for a rush here. They're going to take things, I think, reasonably slowly. Benja looking to potentially move in underneath, just make sure everything's clear. You've got to be careful of those nitros and vertical denial. We could see during the prep phase that BDS have got the default plant spot prepped. They've opened it up with a shotgun. They've got the vertical holes if they need to get underneath and try to challenge with weapons onto that spot. Now there's a nade about to come out. I think the Wamai should be pretty safe there. there. Drenchiro not going to take any damage at the top of Cool Vibes. Benja may choose to try again, but he's not going to find anybody from that position just yet.
Not just yet, no. They've got this below control, which is important if you're looking for a hookah plant, which is what this begins to suggest. Look at the three of them all crawling around down here with that control on the ground floor. And Arctic, now done with his drone duties after 60 seconds, is out of support jail and is allowed to get his way in towards the building. The rest of COWANA starting to set themselves up here. Renshiro with a bit of a challenge coming in from Cool Vibes. Sloth, a couple of shots coming in, but not enough to fully scare him off. A couple now pushing up towards the hookah door. So you've got 2 or 3 playing downstairs, a couple playing up, but it's Playday with the opening kill. Benja shut out the game.
Got kills just raining in on either side as Sloth manages to get one in between Breeday's double, leaving us 4 versus 2 while Shaco locks down Gorgona. And now it is all in the hands of BDS again, Des. They are fighting back like crazy and they are winning this game 1 round at a time if COWANA are not careful. Grizzly, he's just making all the challenges that he can from the hookah door there, but they know that he's out there on the deck and it is going to be very, very difficult for him to find anything from here. He just looks back through the rotate, manages to find Rafal and puts the Jaeger down. There's over a minute left, so he does have time on his side, but he doesn't have life, Des. Just as I say that, Shaiko manages to find the angle out onto him, gets that final kill, and that is BDS bringing this back within 1. We are going to see all 12 regulation rounds.
Really bounced their way back into this game, haven't they? That's just how close this is starting to look. And overtime could most definitely be on the agenda if they keep up at this pace. Figures a tactical timeout's a pretty good one for you. Does the work, Ace, is the best way to describe it. Blue Bar and Sunrise where we head to next. This is the off-site here that we haven't yet been to because of the losing streak. They went on with 3 rounds going the way of COWANA from 7 to 9. The last 2, the way to BDS. So things have really started to heat up and even up. But Penthouse Theatre is not their off-siter's choice, as we saw coming out of COWANA in the first half. So still some teams who aren't fully convinced by the prospect of going to Penthouse Theatre.
You mentioned that tactical timeout from BDS, and I was just wondering whether we were going to see one from COWANA or not, and I believe that is the case at the minute, so they're going to take the opportunity just to try and have a chat. The thing is, I was going to say slow things down, Des, but I don't think that's necessarily what COWANA need here. They've had success when they've been able to get in there, get in the faces of BDS, cut them down early and get that man advantage. Those are the rounds that they've won, but somehow since that tactical timeout, if you've noticed, it's been almost like BDS have been able to force COWANA to play through syrup. It's been like trying to force their way through this liquid, this swamp, this mire to try and get at BDS, and the rounds have just completely slowed down.
It has. It's been, like I say, it's a masterclass by BDS. Round 10, especially for me, was a really good way of using Roam to waste time without necessarily having to get kills. That last round was a much pacier attack out of COWANA. They got the downstairs control, 2 up on the hookah balcony. And then they did try and make a push up Cool Vibes. I'm just not convinced it was fully coordinated as a team like they needed it to be, even if it was 2 players looking to play off the trade. Breedé got 2 kills, and that completely killed any kind of momentum or break in the armor that COWANA may have discovered. So this round is going to require a little bit of, I don't know, more of the same out of COWANA, but a bit more coordination around what angles are being pushed and when and by who.
So it is going to be Blue Bar, it's going to be Sunrise, and it's going to be BDS's off-site, we might say. They've taken Kitchen, they've taken Hooker. This is now their 3rd choice, and Des, what timing to have to go to your 3rd choice site. You've got to keep yourself alive here, and there's no mistakes available. If COWANA take this round, you're done, you're dusted, the game is over. BDS, however, can send us through to overtime. They can push us to the distance here where we will see a further 3 rounds, and whoever comes away with 2 of them will be the winner. They'll only take 2 points though. There will be 1 point going to the loser rather than all 3 to the winner.
Of course, depends if we get to that point. They have got to get over this round first. The offside, as mentioned, means they've had their 2 priority sites, and this is now their 3rd, so a little bit less favourable for BDS, you'd probably be thinking. But who knows what they or what COWANA have got cooked up. The only way is to watch the round play out from this point forwards. Looks like Renshiro is going to be the one trying to contest down inside of office, and with the drone at his feet for a second, then through the doorway, they'll know that he's around. The diffuser down outside suggests that maybe there is a plant looking in towards Blue Bar, but first they need to remove him from being settled inside of here, and he's got support from Alems, who's taken a bit of chip damage himself as well.
Just for a second, my heart fluttered then, Des, as Renshiro wheeled around an ADS onto Alems, but he didn't pull the trigger. Now then, there's only one person pulling the trigger, and that's going to be Sloth. I think getting a bit more aggressive than Renshiro had maybe planned for there. He's He's going to lose his life, but what a vertical angle there from the Aruni of Shaiko. He's going to make a nuisance of himself from above. Will he take the choice to drop the hatch? He's not going to be quite that aggressive just yet. Alems is upstairs, having taken a lot of damage as well. And we're in a 4 versus 4, but for the time being, the brakes have just been put on COWANA again.
Yeah, BDS shutdown, I think, reminded them that they are mortal, that there are rounds where these things can really slow down a bit. Ben just found himself inside. Just got to watch out for those verticals because there were 3 or 4 punch holes opened up, plus the hatch as well. So it can be a bit of a dangerous zone if you've got someone playing in there. In fact, Shaiko opening up more up above here as well. And no one really yet going up to push him. You had one rappelling off earlier on. I think it's a reminder that Aqua isn't a safe place to be. But there's no one on big window, for example. Of course, because where the site is, they'll be able to comfortably see out of the sunrise window. Does mean this can be a little bit one-dimensional, so COWANA have got to play it really carefully.
Shaiko's going to sit there all day unless they force him to move because he's up above the default plant spot in behind the blue bar. But COWANA could go for a big brain play here and try and plant elsewhere, but it doesn't look like they're going to do. They're opening up that default plant spot, and rather than rushing through to the small half wall that we see them plant on sometimes, if they go default, Shaiko's going to open them up.
Like it's just done right there as well. Only one drone left on the side of COWANA means they are riding blind into the final 60 seconds of this round. They have managed to work their way in, mind you. The long angles, the one coming in from the bar, Sloth in and aggressive as we're so used to seeing out of COWANA. If this cross angle is there, he's in trouble. Sees the man but can't quite get the kill. Playday, this man does refuse to be moved. You cannot break him open. 3 in the round. Gorgona left alive. It's going to go all the way to overtime at this point, Ace, and my God, does it deserve it. 4 alive for BDS, and surely the closeout comes through in just a few moments.
We said at the beginning of the game, we had the feeling that this was going to be a close one. It was unexpected when COWANA almost ran away with things, but a tactical timeout just before round 10 has been the momentum swing that BDS needed. They've won every round since to bring it back from 6-3 down to 6-all overtime. It has been a great performance over the back end of that game from the French side.
And they get to stay on defense as well here, so it's going to be rinse repeat what we've just seen in the last 3 rounds. We are starting hookah billiards, mind you, and no big changes coming through for either side. It's all in the 6th pick flex, it feels like, for either team, but nothing coming in for the side of COWANA. That line sticking out as well, and as I say it, the Wamai is moved away here onto the Goyos. So something a little bit different that we haven't seen really any team playing much lately. But in this round for BDS, clearly they're thinking if we can waste time and make good use of those Goyo Vulcans, why the hell not?
Things are going to be a little bit different then on this defence to what we've seen previously on Hooker and Billiards. I think continuing on the same side and BDS starting on the defence, for me it suits them down to the ground at this point. They've just had 3 consecutive rounds on defence. They are rolling right now. They're going to be happy coming in on that same side. Had they had to switch out onto attack, you start wondering, you start asking questions then. Are they going to be able to continue that, or is it going to be the perfect break for COWANA? Whereas on the side of COWANA, mentally, your troubles continued as the war is still there. You've not had a round for the last 3. You've thrown away 3 match points without locking it down. You've still got to come in on the attack. We've seen them win this site, but only really on the back of a rush. Other than that, BDS have been solid here.
It's all about the pace that we spoke about before, right? The slower the round, the more BDS seems to capitalise, and even when COWANA rush, it's gone from becoming a near guarantee they'd win to being a bit of a coin flip. It's the only real way I can describe it. Shaiko playing downstairs, almost kind of challenging COWANA and saying, look, if you want to look to try and play a site, you're going to have vertical control as well. The prior round, we were on the downstairs defense. He was upstairs. Now that we're on the... So Benja almost losing his life. But now the site's on the upstairs, he's playing on the down. So what is the challenge that's going to come in for the side of COWANA here? Can they force Shaiko to move? Benja now being taken out. Shot again from the same spot.
They absolutely cannot force him to move as he finds one after the other, and that's going to be a double for Shaiko to start the round off. The man stepping up exactly when his team needs him, and that's that talismanic position that we see him in so often. Finding himself a double, he takes half his health bar of damage, but it doesn't matter, Des, because he still finds an unreal headshot onto Gorgona, and that was spectacular. An Arctic able to finally shut him down, but it's too late, COWANA. The damage has been done.
You say there's still 100 seconds to play within a 2 versus 3. It's far from, dire and completely over. However, there's only one drone on side, so it's very much going to be a let's step in and go for a peek onto certain positions and pray that we find the right person. It's looking dicey is the best way I can describe it. Ace, but with this much time, maybe they can pull something together.
And Arctic looking to join Grizzly on the south side, get themselves established into Aquarium, and then have an option to push into site. But given that BDS have pretty much fallen back nowadays, they look content to hold their angles. I think this is going to be a very difficult push, especially with the Maestro and particularly the Alder on side for Playday as well. It's not going to be easy. Grizzly looking to push forward here. I think BDS are well aware of his position, though. You just see the man inside of Hooker there, just dipping down beneath those peak holes that have been opened up. That tells Renshiro everything he needs, and that right there, Des, is a long time spent playing this game. As soon as that flashbang comes out, he knows exactly where that COWANA player is, steps out and absolutely decapitates him.
Like you say, textbook. It was almost robotic in response as well. Perfect to the millisecond. Beautiful play coming out. And this is the kind of round that will now move them up to 7 and 6 on the side of BDS. And Arctic has got a lot to do inside 20 seconds. And as try as they might, it looks like this is one of those ones that the might is going to have to be maybe for a long time. Even got the zaps coming out from below here. So Arctic truly is true. They know where he is. He's got Evil Eyes bearing him down as well. No idea where he's being challenged from. This round is done and dusted. 3 left alive for BDS. And across those last 4 rounds, they've now won back-to-back. They've only lost 6 members across all of the mates. It is dominant, is the only way of describing this team right now.
It absolutely is. BDS just a little bit late to wake up into this one, but when they have, boy, have they woken up with a fury, and COWANA, they're on the receiving end of that right now. They must be wondering just exactly what's happened over the last 4 rounds. The head's going to be in a spin right now. BDS with their first match point opportunity. They haven't been ahead throughout this game since the very first round. They won the first round, and since then it's all been COWANA with the opportunities to close it out, but they failed to do so. They failed to cross that line, failed to make it over that final hurdle, and right now BDS, they look like punishing them, Des, and you just feel like all the advantages sit with the French side right now.
It's a bit of a coin flip as to who walks away the winner in this round is the one I'm thinking of, because now that COWANA are back on the defensive side, they put the challenge to BDS, and all the onus then falls on the French side to be the ones who come up with the plan, the pressure, just kind of flip the mentality just for a round to switch back in round 15. Heaven knows which way it goes if we get there. But you are right, I think that momentum has built up across the last 4 or 5, so again, it's just so hard to call. You just don't know because of how the rounds have gone throughout the whole game, right?
Exactly that. Exactly. It's not, it's not that straightforward. It's COWANA, have got wins in them. They've got rounds in them. It's just whether they can get this one done. They're going to be going down to Kitchen now then. When we've seen them defend Kitchen previously, the defensive half was 3-3, so there's no real clues to be found there. But looking at Kitchen particularly, BDS were able to win it in round 4, Des, on the attack. Round 5, COWANA managed to lock it down, and it's only a 50-50 win rate for them on the day on this site. Shaco taking a ton of damage though, and that's not like this BDS site. We've already seen them punish potential spawn peaks, but Shaco went running in there without that double window being checked. Benja took full advantage, and he very nearly got the man's life.
COWANA, if nothing else, are a constant reminder to BDS to check your damn windows, get them drones out early on, find out what's going on before you just go peeking into things. Now they know there's one off to the south. They knew that Shaiko came from the northeast. They've got at least a read on a couple of members of BDS here and some idea as to what's coming.
Benja's just on the roam of that top floor still. They certainly don't want to give up that top floor presence and allow BDS to work those vertical angles. Benja finds his man but gets shut down. Renshiro has done so well on those counter peak plays today, and it could be a critical component of a BDS win should they be able to get this round done. Sloth, however, will come in with a very late trade onto Renshiro with a headshot, leaving us 4 versus 4, and right now it's time for COWANA to batten down the hatches.
It is, because one's already gone down here. The 4 versus 3 stepping in for BDS, and this is another pacey round coming out, but this time from the French side. Maybe instigated by COWANA being as aggressive as they are. That's disgusting, by the way. The blind spray into blue picks up the kill, and it's a 3 versus 3.
The thing is, ammo is not necessarily the problem, Des. You got the bullets, put them through the wall. You never know what you might find, and that time COWANA managed to pick himself up a freebie onto Ilems, and it could well just keep COWANA fighting. I said they needed to batten down the hatches, and you just get the feeling that in the next minute there's going to be a serious storm coming from this BDS side, Des. They want to get this locked down, and you know what they're like. This is a team that when they smell blood in the water, they go after it, and they will be looking to get it done here and now. However, There it goes, Rafal, kill onto an R-kick. It starts now as Gorgona takes an awful lot of damage, but somehow manages to wheel around and find a headshot onto Shako. 2 versus 2, 2 versus 1 as Playday takes what little health Gorgona had left. Grizzly manages to find one through the soft wall. It's 1v1 Des, but the diffuser's down. Rafal, he's got to do something. He's collected the diffuser, but he's unlikely to get it planted here. Grizzly manages to do some damage. It's 1 versus 1, 28 seconds left to go. Rafal's going to have to play this smart.
Back inside the kitchen as well, his move site for the plant. Surely Grizzly has to read on this, goes for the spray. Rafal, nerves of steel, is sticking it out here. Does he get the side profile? Oh, he missed it by a narrow second. Surely, Rafal, can he clutch this one out? Yes, he can! BDS taking him round for 14. I was going to say 15, but 14 was the one. It comes down to the wire, but the French team hand COWANA another overtime game. The difference being this one is a defeat.
What a beating for COWANA there. It was unfortunate, 6-3 up. And they allowed BDS back into things after that tactical timeout. And BDS, wow, they showed why they're the top of the table, Des. Able to grind out a result against the odds, turn it around, slam the brakes on, and win every single round from that tactical timeout onwards.
6-3 to 8-6. It's crazy. One of those games that we'll look back on, I think, throughout the stage and say that was, again, one of the most thrilling games I think we've seen. Dominated by 3Ks and 4Ks in those first 8 rounds. And then BDS reminded us all why they are at the top of the table. Domination continues, and with that, they should have locked their spot at the November Major, I believe.
They certainly did.
Seeing them in Sweden.
Congratulations, BDS.
That's one to look for. COWANA have still got a bit of a war to find their way into that top 4. We'll see what future Playdays bring. For now, let's go to a break. When we come back, our analysts will break down that game.